What's up, guys? It's Blake. I told you we're going to have a little more fun here on the channel, and let's do it with some power rankings. If you're someone who likes to rank things, you've seen rankings everywhere online, whether it's ranking sports teams, whether it's ranking cereals, anything, movies, TV shows, everything else. We're going to have some fun with WWE power rankings. WWE used to do this back in the day, where I feel like on WWE.com, they used to have like a weekly power rankings or something like that. And of course, it's very subjective, right? What does it really mean? There's no science to this. There's no exact formula to rank wrestlers in what is a predetermined sport, but we'll have some fun with it. I think it's something we can have some fun with every single week here on the channel, and we may even consider doing this live most weeks. But I'm going to throw this out, see if you guys enjoy it, and let me know where you would rank these stars. We're going to count down from number 10. Number 10 this week, I have Ricky Saints, who, yes, is an NXT superstar, but I think deserved a spot here in the weekly top 10 on the WWE Power Rankings because he did dethrone the ruler, Obafemi, at NXT No Mercy on Saturday. And so that sets up a new era for the NXT brand, as Obafemi had been one of the more dominant champions and likely is headed to the main roster. I think at some point in the near future, whether it's Raw or SmackDown, he has a little bit of unfinished business, I think, in NXT with Trick Williams, but beyond that, Obafemi is headed to the main roster. Ricky Saints headed to the main roster at some point as well. But he is the new champion, and it opens up a lot of sort of fresh feuds. I think in NXT, he could have potential, matches with Javon Evans. He could revisit his feud with Ethan Page. You have many other, I think, potential options for how it could kind of go down with Ricky Saints here moving forward as the new NXT champion. Yes, we all know the relationship between Ricky and Cody Rhodes and all of this stuff. Will they eventually get there on the main roster? We'll find out. But for now, a defining moment for Ricky Saints in his very early still WWE career. All right, number 9. Some people may think this is too low for what is also, speaking of dominant champions, Tiffany Stratton's been pretty dominant in terms of her championship reign here. She's held that belt for a long time. And as we mentioned on the SmackDown review on Friday, I thought she would have lost it at multiple points before now, but she hasn't. She won again on Friday as she defeated Jade Cargill and Nia Jax on SmackDown. I know the finish was not exactly pretty, but she's still the champion. I think it's 268 days, as I'm recording this, that Tiffany Stratton has held on to that title, and we know she is now set for a big one-on-one showdown with Stephanie Vaquer coming up at Crown Jewel. And so Tiffany Stratton has been one of the, again, more dominant champions in WWE in recent years, just based on how long this run has been going. And I feel like every time she just continues to sort of, maybe exceed expectations based on, again, maybe what people thought would be her role in WWE once she came up from NXT. But I remember saying even back then, I'm like, look, guys, they clearly see her as the next it superstar. And given how long this title reign has been, I don't think it could be any more self-explanatory as to what they think of Tiffany Stratton. So still the champion. Who will dethrone her? We'll find out at some point. But for now, she's got Stephanie Vaquer coming up at Crown Jewel. All right, number 8 on this list. She's not going to like this. Becky Lynch is not going to like being at number 8 in the power rankings because Becky is used to being number 1, right? It's not just her saying it. It's Sports Illustrated saying it as well. And so, jokes aside, Becky being at number 8, she has to fall down the rankings a little bit based on the fact that she's coming off of getting pinned at WrestlePalooza by AJ Lee. And also, it seemed like Becky was pissed off on Raw last week as she was simply looking at different options moving forward, potentially for not only herself, not only her husband Seth Rollins, but maybe the Vision. She stormed out as Rollins was looking at the watch given to him by Cody Rhodes. And so, Becky off to now maybe chart a new course for herself and maybe her husband, Seth Rollins, moving forward. But we know we're going to get to Becky versus AJ in a one-on-one match at some point for that Women's Intercontinental Championship, just a matter of when it will happen. So Becky at number 8, she's not going to be thrilled with it, but sorry, Becky, you're still number 1 for Sports Illustrated. All right, I mentioned Stephanie Vaquer. I've got her at number 7 on this week's Power Rankings, and she's just red hot at the moment. There's no doubt about it. Like I said, she's going to have that big match with Tiffany Stratton at Crown Jewel. Should be, I think, fantastic, given where both of those women are at right now. But, she's someone else that we just knew with what they were doing with Stephanie Vaquer in NXT, becoming the double champion, the way she moved up to the main roster. And I know for a little bit there, it felt like she was kind of in a holding pattern, wasn't doing a whole lot necessarily. But I think that was intentional when you really look back, because they want to protect her as much as they can, and they don't want to even have a little ounce of doubt from the fans as to how big Stephanie Vaquer can be in WWE. And so rather than just throw her out there with anything, you give her, again, it's a little bit of time. And I know, was there injuries and such that they were talking about? I can't remember exactly the specifics, but I think it's something where you look at it and feel like she is just in a great spot. She's one of the top stars, not just in the women's division, but I mean, the way the crowd reacts to her, she's one of the top stars on the roster right now. And so no surprise for me to put her in my top 10, I'm sure, but I do have her at number 7 here this week. Sami Zayn at number 6, and I think Sami has just been an absolute treat on the SmackDown brand right now. I know there's been a big difference maybe for a lot of people in terms of the quality on Raw and SmackDown, but I think Sami Zayn in this U.S. title open challenge has been the absolute bright spot for the Blue brand. And look at all the matches that this guy is having, right? Whether it's Javon Evans last week, whether it's Rey Fenix, obviously kickstarting it with Cena and all that, Carmelo on the list as well. And so, I mean, he's just had a lot of great matches. And I think your whole point here, as we've talked about, you're giving Sami Zayn kind of his platform to shine. This is what he does. He's one of the best wrestlers out there. You're giving him that platform to eventually then put him in the position to potentially challenge for a top title at WrestleMania 42. I've said it. I still think he's the favorite to win the Royal Rumble next year in Saudi Arabia. And I'm not really backed off of that just yet. Things could change, of course, before we get there. We are still several months away. But for now, I think with what they're doing with Sami, the whole reason for this U.S. title open challenge, yes, it gives you great matches and it fills time, but it's also because I think this puts, again, in the mind of fans that he is ready. He is one of the best out there. And once he gets that opportunity, somebody beats him in the U.S. title open challenge. Who will it be? I don't know. You guys give me your predictions in the comments. But for now, he's one of the best things going in WWE. And that's why I have Sami Zayn at number 6. All right, Sami Zayn's familiar with this guy at number 5. I got Jey Uso. And I know Jey doesn't hold a title right now, but I am thoroughly enjoying what they're doing with Jey at the moment. And, he's not your traditional babyface. He's not a traditional heel. He's just Jey Uso. And what I think he is more than anything right now is a guy who realized that, yes, everyone talks about getting to the top of the mountain in WWE. But what hurts more than that is not just the road to get there. It's the road to getting back after you've tasted that success. And I think that's what we're seeing with Jey, right? He's frustrated. He's angry because he was all the way at the top. But now he's slipped down a little bit. He's not the world champion anymore. Nobody thought he would ever get there. And he got there. And now he's feeling the after effects of not being champion and kind of being back to maybe just a sidekick, right? With Jimmy Uso. He's back to being a tag team guy. No, Jey. You got to keep embracing your inner Roman Reigns. And that's why I have Jey in my top 5 this week in terms of power rankings, because I think he's one of the more fascinating characters, if you will, in WWE right now. And so I think, to me, he's must-watch TV for me just to see what they're going to do with the storyline moving forward. So I have Jey coming in at number 5, which I think, again, makes him right up there with, as you'll see, our top 4 here. I think it's a pretty good list to be on if you're Jey, despite losing the World Championship, but still being a very good position on the card. All right, at number 4, I've got AJ Lee. I know, we've kind of just had I don't want to say cool off, but you're having your sort of come down from AJ returning and then getting the win over Becky at WrestlePalooza, as we mentioned. But like I said, this is all one where she's had one of the biggest returns in WWE history. I mean, that just from a number standpoint is not a lie. It's factual that you looked at all the views that she accumulated and all that with a return, and she is, again, going to be a major figure on these shows moving forward. Like I said, we know we are guaranteed one thing. That is a match between AJ Lee and Becky Lynch, but I did the video not long ago. She's got a lot of great matches, I think, that are out there for her over however long this run winds up being in this return. I mean, she's got Roxanne Perez, she's got Bayley, she's got Liv Morgan, who was my number 1 pick, I said, in terms of like the things I'm most intrigued by with AJ Lee. It would be a feud with Liv Morgan once she returns. But she's got so many different matches. Naomi, another one I think that eventually that's further down the line. But there's a lot you could do with AJ here in this run again. And so I've got her here at number 4 coming up. And we'll see what's next. Did they just eventually quickly go to Becky and AJ in one-on-one competition, or do they do something else? We'll find out. All right, I've got Seth Rollins at number 3. Rollins is still the World Heavyweight Champion. He'll tell you that because he's tired of hearing about losing, right, at WrestlePalooza. He had the face-to-face with Cody on Raw last week. We'll see what they do to follow up with that tonight on this week's Raw. But, I mean, I think, again, you're looking at Rollins right now. He's the champion. He's on a collision course with Cody at Crown Jewel. But we also know he's got to have that one-on-one match again with CM Punk. And that one's going to be for the World Heavyweight Championship as well. I'm curious, do they wind up doing, both the one-on-one matches on the same show? Do they split it up? Not really sure how it will go. I mean, realistically, you could say that AJ versus Becky is a main event on any WWE PLE you want to do it on. The same can obviously be said for CM Punk and Seth Rollins. So they could split them up. They could do them on the same show to have a little bit of, symmetry there. But nonetheless, I think that's where we're headed. But for now, I'm intrigued by Rollins just because, again, you had kind of the dynamic, him looking at the watch that Cody gave him after WrestleMania 40. There's so much backstory with these two, the history between them. I think it's going to make for probably one of the best WWE matches this year at Crown Jewel when you do get Cody versus Rollins. So Seth may not like being at number 3 because that's going to mean one of the top champions is ahead of him. You probably know who that is. But there's another person who's not currently a champion that's ahead of him, and it's the guy we just talked about, and CM Punk. I've got Punk at number 2 because, like I mentioned, he's got all the momentum right now. Coming off of WrestlePalooza, he's got AJ back in the fold, and things are looking good for CM Punk. But it's just that curiosity as to when he's going to get in the ring with Seth Rollins and be potentially the next World Heavyweight Champion. He got there, and now, just like we said, I had to talk about Jey getting it sort of taken away from him. Completely different situation where Punk gets it taken away via the cash-in at SummerSlam. And so now, can Punk finally get there? Can he be the person who has the championship for longer than however long it was, right, at SummerSlam? And so I think, like we talk about long-term, what are Punk's potential options at WrestleMania 42? Do they hold off Punk and Rollins until then, knowing, remember, we knew we were going to get Punk versus Rollins at WrestleMania before the Punk injury a couple of years, what was that, last year? So, hey, they may decide we're going to hold it off till then. We run it back. Can you wait that long? I mean, it's October now. You're still talking 6 months away. So I don't know. Or 7 months away, isn't it? Something like that. 6 months. I don't know. I get my math mixed up. But they're going to do it at some point. And that seems to be kind of the long-term story for Punk. But what's the short-term story for Punk? We'll find out coming out of it. All right, at number 1, may not be a surprise here in this first set of power rankings. Do have Cody Rhodes. At 1, as I said, Cody versus Seth Rollins is going to be excellent. There's no doubt about it. All the backstory we talked about. But just as I talked about on Friday, I think they're already setting the teases to somehow maybe eventually get us to Cody versus Randy Orton. I don't know if it's going to happen. Could that be WrestleMania 42? Don't know. We said that about WrestleMania 41. And so this is not that different than what they did last year during the summer where you had, as I talked about on Friday, Cody and Orton sitting there staring at the belt between them. And then, Orton makes the save for Cody against Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed last week. And Orton picks up the title, hands it to Cody, gives it a little bit of a stare. Right? So they're setting all the teases. We know we have to get there at some point. It's just taking a lot longer than we ever thought, probably. But these two are probably going to team up. If you're watching this, it may have already been announced, to take on Breaker and Reed. That's a given based on how they did, the segment last week on SmackDown. But, yeah, Cody versus Rollins will be great. Who else is going to be in store for Cody beyond that match against Seth Rollins? We know we've got Survivor Series coming up in November. But, I mean, you've got multiple options now, as I said. For Cody, could you get back to Cody versus Drew? What about Jacob Fatu if he wins this feud with Drew McIntyre? And Randy Orton, as I said, is still someone out there I think is a possibility. So there you go, guys. The first installment of the WWE Power Rankings. I know millions of you probably not entertained by Power Rankings, but I think it's kind of fun to look at where things stand. It gives you a nice overview of where everyone is at in WWE right now. But you guys give me your top 10 or top 5 or number 1 if you want in the comments below. Always appreciate your feedback. Hit that subscribe button, hit the like button as well. As I mentioned, we're starting to get back to doing more videos here. They will be a little bit different than some of the stuff we used to do. But hey, I just want to have more fun with it rather than just chasing, views all the time. So hey, this is kind of a fun exercise I think we can do each week. So you guys let me know what you think, how you'd rank them in terms of what you think or maybe your favorite things going on in WWE right now. Let me know in the comments. Always appreciate your feedback, guys, and always appreciate your support of the channel. Thanks as always for watching, and let me know your WWE Power Rankings for this week.